everybody, Joshua here with the Heavypiano YouTube channel. Let's talk about how to play The Other Side by David Gray. So at the very top we have two chords, D minor and G. And then from that we'll go D minor to D sus. All we're doing is moving the F natural, makes it D minor, to a G, makes it like a D sus. Going to G, we're going to bring the F natural back in to make it a G7. So those are our basic chords. We'll go back and forth between those two chords. Right hand is just going to do this quarter note, right? Now the left hand can fill in. If you want to listen to exactly what David does on the piano, you can match that. But what I liked to do was to add a little bit of inserting the left hand in there, and not too much at the very beginning. Later on I will add more octaves, more chord, more weight to my chords. But that at the very beginning for the introduction, I like to keep it simpler, but I will add some rhythm in there. That might have had a little bit too much emphasis, but that's the idea. It'll be up to you how you want to play that, how much energy you want to give that, how gentle you want to make it. But just some ideas based on those chords there. So we're going to do that a couple of times, and then we'll bring in the melody. So let me go ahead and play the introduction without talking, and then I'll move into the melody, and I'll talk about how my left hand will take over the chords. So notice what I did there. Whereas before I was playing those quarter note chords in my right hand, I'm going to let the left hand come up. I'm going to emphasize with my right hand the melody. And as I hit that D, the lyrics would be other side, I'll go ahead and fill in some of the chord in my right hand so it doesn't get too sparse. So I did a little bit of moving note there that time. You can move some of those notes to add some motion in there, and maybe it's not completely noticeable, but it is kind of keeping the energy moving forward as we play. I'll play it one more time here. So we've gone back and forth between D minor and the G, D minor with the D sus, G with the G7, but more or less just going back and forth between two chords. Now we have a new chord here, F. So a C, D minor, G, to A, D minor, C, B flat, A minor, to G. So those chords again are F, C, to D minor, G, to A, D minor, C, B flat, A minor. I have a hard time playing and talking, sorry. G, and then we'll go back to the D minor and G chord progression again. And then this time I will start to add maybe more octaves in my left hand. I'll add a little more energy, a little bit more rhythm in there. Maybe add some supporting notes within that D sus chord. And this time we won't repeat it as long, we'll go right to the F. And we have the second progression again. This time we have a new chord. It'll be an E major, G, you can make it a G7, to D minor, and then play that much. Lots of left hand octave here. We have the intro chord progression again. To keep the left-hand octaves going because we've built up from the beginning. We have our introduction, kind of keeping it simple, adding some octaves next time around, and then this time it's bigger. So it'll be up to you if you want to play it that way, but that's one of the ways I like to think about making it bigger and having it build throughout. Sorry, I'm letting the tempo run away with me here. So then we have our F again. I don't know if you want to go quite that low in your piano. It's going to depend on the sound you want. So this time we will go back to the E again, to G, to D minor. And it's really, we're going to play this progression for a while, bringing the energy back. So you'll see me add some additional notes, harmony notes in there. I would experiment and see what kind of sounds you like. So I have our D minor to D sus. So there's a lot of crushed notes there, suspension there that might work or may not work. That time I raised that upper note in my left hand. I kind of have a power chord, bringing that ninth in there. So I go to the ninth and I come back. So it's just a brief, like a moment of maybe a little bit of clashing or a little bit of dissonance and then resolving it. You know, you could do some moving notes, some moving chords to the G. So I'm adding the seventh in there. You know, just trying to add a little bit of harmony in there to add some flavor to the music and what I'm doing, so I'm not just playing the same thing over and over again. Then we'll have our outro on F, C, A to D minor, you know, and you know, that D minor sound. So that's the song in a nutshell with the chords and melody. If you are the kind of person that learns from watching hands and using chords and melody, I used for this arrangement, the arrangements I did, the Synthesia, one of my patrons, a very generous patron named Rick, requested this song, specifically the Synthesia, kind of the MIDI version, because that's how they learned. And so they provided me with some sheet music to use, and I used it as a framework somewhat to keep the order, but I did like adding a lot of different things. So especially, at the very beginning, I liked adding a little bit of that bum, 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 ba-dum, some of those rhythms in left hand to give it just a little bit of energy and movement. And then as I went on adding some chords, adding octaves in left hand, adding some of those emphasizing the melody above all, but then using harmonies that work within the chords. Feel free to experiment too, okay? So I have my G chord. I can change my notes. I can add the ninth. I can add the C in there, which would be a fourth, or 8, 9, 10, 11. If you want to think of it that way. We almost have a Nick Drake sounding chord there, right? So the idea being that we want to create tension and release, right? In the music. Adding some moving notes and inner voices, all those things to experiment with when you create your own version of someone else's song. And there's not necessarily an absolute right or an absolute wrong, and you may like or may not like the way I play these songs. I have a tendency to let the tempo kind of build up and grow, and I do have to remind myself not to get too excited about what I'm playing. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Beautiful piece. Thank you for the request, Rick. I hope someone else finds this video helpful. A big thank you to my patrons like Rick on Patreon who request songs and support me every month. I really appreciate it. So take care, and I will catch you next time.